Good evening, everybody. Welcome to week 11 of our summer series here. I want to thank everybody for coming down. We're going to get started. We usually wait a little bit longer, but we got some rain that's supposed to be coming in a little bit after 8 o'clock. So we're going to try to push this along. And we also have the sun refusing to stay up for us for an extra half an hour in August. So it's always a problem. So tonight we have 5 readers all coming to us from the Thursday morning poetry, right? Thursday morning poets. And they're all from Queens, but they all we made sure that they all had visas and their shots were in order and all that other good stuff. All right, so our first reader tonight is Luvon Roberson. And by the way, while she's coming up, you should know that we actually are Zooming this simultaneously. We have people from 4 states on there already who have been coming to watch, and then everything goes on YouTube. So if you miss 1 week, you can grab it off of our YouTube page. There we go. Come on, come and have fun.
Hi, everybody. It's really good to be here. I grew up in Corona, East Elmhurst in Queens. Yay! And in my neck of the wood, you had to learn how to jump double dutch. Otherwise, who jumps double dutch? Okay. Yay! All right. Okay. Double dutch and childhood. It was on the tarred playing field of a New York City public school playground that you learned how to recognize a bully and how to be a team player at the same time. You glory in your prowess. Where I grew up, we girls had to jump double dutch or play punch ball. Smashing that little pink rubber ball against an unyielding concrete wall was too painful. So double dutch was my game. We girls jumped double dutch starting on the elementary school playground across from a swamp spanning 4 large square blocks with Shea Stadium, rising only a stone's throw away. Double dutch. It's 2 ropes turned alternately by girls, and only girls when I was a girl. It's like a 2-stranded steel egg beater where you use electric cords if you couldn't find cotton rope. Your legs might get lashed, causing welts and cuts, but so what? And double dutch calls for teamwork, something we Corona East Elmhurst girls would keep hearing later in life that girls didn't know how to do when it comes to games or sports. Only boys played team sports. Even then, we knew grown-ups told you lies, including lies about bullies. We were told to avoid a bully or tiptoe around a bully, but if you couldn't do that, then you beat bully to a pulp. Or if you couldn't do that, then you take your licks, but you better not come home crying or otherwise looking for sympathy. There was, however, I discovered as a girl, another alternative. You showed bully you could jump double dutch. Okay, I'm not sure what it is, but childhood is coming up for me. I'm over 70 and I'm still jumping double dutch, y'all, okay? Queens, baby! Okay, poetry. Dandelions. I love dandelions. And look, we're gifted with my favorite, dandelions. It's a poem, a tribute to Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, Gwendolyn Brooks, and also Lucille Clifton. Dandelions. When I think of them now, I think of dandelions, dozens, no hundreds, maybe, yes, even thousands, open, wide, yellow, green stems that I and all like-minded, like kin, can hold. Umbrella against forces, all forces, against principalities, against storms. The storms they told you would always come, no matter the weeping. No matter the weeping. So double Dutch and finding feathers. I'm on the journey of the feathers, y'all, whatever that means to you. I walk with a seeking spirit, my feet on journey of the feather, stumbling upon it, a writing tool, an image maker, an amulet, maybe, a guide that clings to your feet, whispering, insisting, urging, breathless as only a feather. Pay attention. Pay attention. Melva's next. Come on up. My next Thursday morning poet.
They're wonderful. Thank you so much. Luvon Roberson. Come on up, Melva. Okay, and our next Thursday morning poet, Melva C. Lewis.
Hello, everybody. This is my first time reading here, even though I come here a few times to support Dr. Linda Oper, and I'm dedicating this reading to her. Love Talisman. I want to express all the love, care, and devotion I have for my children in a way they can understand, feel, hold, and keep within themselves as a talisman. The first time I saw each of my children, I felt an emotion I had never felt before for anybody else. Surprise, awe, love, incredulity, fear, happiness, all in one look. To this day, I still feel the same. Every time I look at them, my heart smiles, my soul dances. I love them with as much love as my heart can hold. I cannot adore them more than I adore them. I show them I care in ways that are countless. I tell them I love them as often as possible. Each of them is different and behaves differently. Each has different skills, styles, personalities. They are all strong, muscular, athletic, quick learners, creative, loving, caring, and handsome. They are all individually distinct, yet very similar, as if painted by the same artist. Each one an original, part of a coveted, cherished collection. Each is uniquely priceless. This next poem is in Spanish and English, and I will read the Spanish first. Reunión secreta, secret meeting. No sé cómo, pero está donde no debía estar. No es la primera vez. Posee una atracción involuntaria, como un imán para situaciones como esta. Esta es una reunión de adultos. Él solo tiene 11 años. Acurrucado en un rincón, en la oscuridad, escondido. No puede ver los rostros, pero oye todo perfectamente. Hay voces que nunca se olvidan, y mucho menos su mensaje, absorbido ávidamente por él. Hablan de cambios radicales, revolucionarios, temas censurados y prohibidos, que no se discuten en público. Se jugaban la vida y la de sus familias si eran descubiertos. Nervioso, él piensa, ¿qué hago si me interrogan? Él no se siente valiente. Temblando, empieza a rezar. Virgencita de la Caridad, dame fuerza y voluntad. Protégeme. He doesn't know how, but he is where he should be. It's not the first time. He has an involuntary pull, a magnet for situations like this. This is a meeting for adults. He's only 11. Crouching in a corner, in the dark, hidden, he can't see their faces, but hears everything perfectly. Some voices you can never forget, know the message they deliver, eagerly absorbed by him. They speak of change, radical, revolutionary, censored, prohibited topics, never discussed in public. They risk their lives and that of their families if discovered. Nervous, he wonders, what will I do if they question me? He doesn't feel brave. Trembling, he begins to pray. Our Lady of Charity, give me strength and courage. Protect me. Sleepy, sunny sun. How does the sun know when to emerge? Who wakes him up in early dawn? Does he hear an alarm go off? Does his mother pull his toes the way mine did? Does she call him sleepyhead? Does he beg her, 5 more minutes, Ma? Does he rush to the kitchen at the aroma of sizzling breakfast and sweet, creamy hot chocolate, worried his brothers will leave him none? Does he skip his chores to be on time, to open his eyes, stretch out his arms, to shine in splendor? This last piece is called, my last piece is called, I Am From the Land. I am from the land of palm trees that join the sky, that touch the clouds. They rise from the ground, from the mountains, from the valleys. I am from the land of the sugarcane, full of juice, sweeter than sugar, where hardworking men, sweet pouring down their space, cut the cane, peel, slice it into chunks, offer you a bite of the juicy caña. Oh, how I miss el dulce y refrescante sabor del guarapo, refreshing juice from the cane. I am from the land of coconut, of coco de agua, coquero serenades. Sharp machete chips, sharp machete snips, a hole at the top. El agua de coco, you bring it to your lips. Imbibe the life-giving libation. Coconut juice energizes, nourishes your body, your soul. I am from the land of blue skies and the clearest crystal clear water of blue. So transparent, you see rainbows as fish swim by. Waters warm as a mother's tight abrazo. Sand so fine, it feels like sugar sifting through your fingers on the palm of your hand. I am from the land of poets and warriors, of Jose Marti and Antonio Maceo, land of sound, land of music, land of drums, La Tumbadora, Santa Bárbara, Yemayá y Bembé, land of Benny Moré y Celia Cruz, Corneta Chini Negrofino, conga beats, beat, 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 beat. The beat makes your feet move, your body jumps, makes your hips swivel all around. Oh, how I miss the music of my country. There is a rhythm to the language, to the words. There's a cadence in the air. There's a swinging sway to this land. Rivers rumba as they flow. I am for where people speak without words. Hablan con las manos, speak with their hands. You press your lips a certain way, it means one thing. You press them another way, and it tells you something else. The way you shrug your shoulders, move your hips, point your chin, wave your hands, undulate your arms, you dip your hips. Everything, it all speaks to you. Soy de esa patria que hace mi corazón palpitar, que llama mi alma, que hace mi sangre hervir, que corre por mis venas, que me llena de alegría. Soy de ese lugar que añoro. I am from the place I miss, that calls to me, that calls my soul, that runs in my veins. I am from the place that I'm from, that land that is me. I am from mi tierra, mi tierra, mi tierra. Thank you.
Melva, Lewis. All right. Rolling right along. Two wonderful. We're 2 for 2. Now I'm going to bring up next to Angela, my oldest friend in the world. He's read here at the Gazebo a number of times. He's a good friend to us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Grossberg.
Question. Hi. Oh, look at hi everybody. This poem was from a Thursday morning poets prompt for a ekphrastic poetry, and the poem I chose to write about was a painting I chose to write about. It's called "The Girl I Left Behind Me." It's an 1875 piece by an artist named Eastman Johnson, and the poem I wrote about it, called "The 1st of January," is scheduled to be published at the Bard's Annual 2023. I thank everybody who had something to do with that. This is the 1st January. All these old men enlisting the young men to leave us behind and follow them off to glory, say that God is on our side. Well, what are they supposed to say? Soon I won't be a newlywed. Soon I will be a mother. We agreed it would be a down payment on our future. Not just him and me. Everyone and everyone caught up in the excitement and the promise of, there's that word again, glory. I don't know if it's exciting after Christmas turns to January. I don't know if I would know glory if I saw it. I'm pretty sure you can't slurp it up with a spoon. I tell myself stories. I look in the direction he left in, thinking he'll come back right away. Maybe I shouldn't wish that for him. Everyone who has come back so far has been returned for broken parts. The wind is blowing in my face. The wind is blowing at his back. He'll get home faster that way, as if we're up to him. So this next piece came from a prompt we did at the Thursday Morning Poets. And it's a pretty basic prompt, but I thought it worked out all right. This poem is called Cassius Clay, Kentucky abolitionist, born October 19th, 1810. It's a poem by Bruce Grossberg, New York poet, born October 19th, 1958. I am the greatest, the Lion of Whitehall. Lions run free, horses run free, all men should run free. The people in my old Kentucky home howled. They voted me out of Congress. They burned down my printing press. Someone jumped me, tried to kill me. I cut off his nose. 6 Turner brothers jumped me, tried to kill me. But after my Bowie knife sliced the first Turner brother to death, the other 5 turned tail and ran away. I'm still printing across the river in Cincinnati. The best way to defend yourself is to keep a cannon inside your door. I almost had to use it against my own children. They objected to my new wife. I was 84, she was 15. I don't know that's anybody else's business. My friend Abe Lincoln was taller than a cornstalk. Voters think that if the candidate can look over their heads, he can really see what's going on. And when he opened his mouth and said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand," I could see how he would keep the crowd just far enough away so they couldn't get a good look of just how ugly he is. Abe would make a fine leader. I would have made a better leader, but I faced a lot of resentment. It's not my fault if I'm right all the time. It's not my fault if you reap the whirlwind. And even after, Abe still would not let me do things my way. I guess I shouldn't have made all that fuss about how the union could have 4.5 million more soldiers, nurses, farmers, people to beat up on the South with if Abe would only free the slaves now. Abe finally came around to my way of thinking, sort of. And what kind of thanks do you think I got? My tremendous foresight, leading to death threats everywhere I go. What did Abe do to have easy access to my good advice? He sent me off to be ambassador to Russia. Russia. But then the Russians freed their serfs, and we bought Alaska from them. Freedom and success follow me wherever I go. On to Cuba. I don't want to make too big a fuss about Cassius Clay. He was an abolitionist, but he was also a slaveholder, and he did not free his slaves until they asked him to. I made him. And that line about Cuba is also accurate. I don't think he was ever at Cuba, but he did spend a lot of his later life raising money for Cuban freedom. He was a associate of Jose Marte, and Marte himself had spent a lot of his life in Mexico and Venezuela and New York. So that's how that happened, but it did happen.
No,
This next poem,
non si muoveranno.
I don't know what the prompt was. There must have been some prompt because it says here that I wrote this on March 16th, 2023, which was a Thursday. So I must have been to a Thursday morning poet session. But I don't remember what the prompt was that got to this. This is called Looking Pretty. I'm the one who sits and looks pretty. You're the one who bicycles through the parks to the stores, who rides the subways with our baby, who's not a baby anymore, with my body, which breaks down constantly, who spends time well cooking, swimming, painting, gardening, feeding the cats, who carves out time for yourself, for your body, for our daughter, for her body, for me, for my body, which breaks down constantly, which wasn't the body of the man you met, which certainly wasn't part of the deal you made, but you never bring that up. Beth, am I going to do the Thursday morning bio? So anyway, Thursday morning, I have one more, but before I do that, let me say a couple of other things. Thursday Morning Poets was a result of a Queens Borough Library set of webinars that we did in the middle of the pandemic that were run by Maria Lisella, who will be reading later on as the Poet Laureate of Queens. And everybody could come who had a website connection at the time in the middle of the pandemic. And she did a bunch of sessions, and a bunch of people came and went. And then at the end of the day, there are about, the number varies every week, 12 or 14 or 16 of us who were left together, and we were having a good time. We wanted to keep it going, and so we kept it going. and it's over 2 years later. We've kept it going. We do these on Thursday mornings most months, and that's the one thing I wanted to say. I want to thank the Oceanside Public Library, the Kiwanis of Oceanside, for inviting us here. I'd like to thank Tony and Angela. I break here most years. I always read in August, which is good for my schedule, but it's better also because I have a chance every year to point out that on August 12th, which was Saturday, August 12th, 1979, Tony Iovino and Angela Morano, there's a trivia answer for you, got married. It was a great week. I was there for all of it. I was awake for most of it. And Tony and Angela and Tony, we grew up in Massapequa. They made a lot of things happen there. They made a lot of things happen in Rockville Center and Oceanside, all over Long Island. They're movers and shakers. I love them very much. I'm very glad they've chosen to include me in some of what they do. Happy anniversary. This is the one I'm working on currently. I wrote this on a Wednesday, and I brought it into the Thursday Morning Poets, and they had some constructive suggestions, I hope, and I've incorporated them, and I'll read this to you now. It's called Questions 137. By the rivers of the Hudson, where we sat down, do we weep when we remember Israel? Why are our brothers so aggrieved when we sing the Lord's song? Are they jealous of our many colors? Do they really wish to throw us into the pit? Refuse to acknowledge that we're brothers at all? When democracy runs such a high fever in the United States, should we be surprised that it's close to death in a smaller, weaker body? Can you compare and contrast the 6th day of January, the date on the American calendar where they did not care about the dead in New Jerusalem, and the 6th day of Av, date on the Hebrew calendar, they did not care about the future in Old Jerusalem? Is the 6th day a symbol from a language still to come, meaning the alpha must include everything. The wrong constant will turn all of us into fire. If I forget the O Jerusalem, will I shapeshift into 137 questions, each crashing through the rocks into the purgatory of Sheol? Will you remember, O God, against those who on the 6th day laughed when they tried to make Jerusalem forget about me?
All right, Bruce Grossberg. Okay. Without any further ado, we'll bring up our 4th reader for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Beth Evans. Woo-hoo! Make sure we have.
Thanks, Tony. Thank you all for coming. I did come from Brooklyn tonight. Google Maps said it would take 6 hours if I walked, so I drove. Hey, who's got somebody in the family from Brooklyn? Yay! Okay. So I have one poem called Barbie and Me, and it's a poem in chapters. Chapter 1, Conception and Birth. On the day I was born, Barbie was conceived. Do the math. It takes 260 days for a human baby to gestate. First babies tend to be late. Ruth Handler delivers the Barbie doll to the Mattel Toy Company on March 9th, 1959. I was born on June 19th, 1958. 260 days after I come on the scene, the Barbie doll is born. Handler was the midwife. The true mother of the doll was Bild Lilly, a German figurine intended for adults and based on a comic strip character from the papers. Lily a call girl who knew her own mind. Handler had invited Lily to come back to New York with her after a visit to Germany, where they met in a post-war bar in Berlin, full of American servicemen exchanging cigarettes and chocolate for sex with hesitant German girls. Handler assured Lily that there were abundant clientele on the other side of the pond, in addition to excellent shopping, Japanese imports, theater, German existentialism and the absurd, an intact museum where stolen objects survived the war. Lily was game. The two boarded a Pan Am de Havilland Comet and flew into Idlewild on a muggy day in May. By mid-June, having exhausted the stores and sights of Manhattan, Handler and Lily thought they would give Brooklyn a try. It was there that they bumped into my parents as they were leaving the hospital that has since become a condo. Handler exclaimed, seeing the newborn in her carriage, "Oh, Lily, you should have one of those too." Lily's profession allowed her quickly to conceive, and in the spring of 1959, close to a year after she had left Germany, Lily gave birth to a fully formed American adult daughter, Barbie. Chapter 2, Infancy. So formed, it is difficult to picture the newly born baby Barbie in diapers. So I do what most newly formed poets do, born into her craft sometime close to, but not precisely on November 30th, 2023, and turn to an intelligence thicker skinned, yet not as fleshy as mine. When queried, the AI ChatGPT tells me, while Barbie herself has evolved and diversified, she has not been depicted as a baby or gone through a baby stage like some other toy lines. Nonsense is my sense, and so I say, of course Barbie came into life in infancy, just as any other fleshy female assigned at birth begins her life passage into glittery pink with baby bows tapped to her bald head and eyelet lace dresses that blossom around her when she is positioned for her first photo. Barbie, an ideal female, most certainly suffered the ritual of pierced ears at 3 months old, an ideal female infant. An infant born to Ideal, the toy company, as not Barbie, but instead as Betsy Wetsy, the little girl doll equipped with 2 holes. She took it in and she gave it out. Long before she defected to Mattel, I checked with ChatGPT. Who demurs? Barbie and Betsy Wetsy are distinct dolls with different origins and purposes. Barbie was never originally conceived as Betsy Wetsy or as a baby doll. Chapter 3, Childhood. The AI is determined to deny Barbie an infancy. I, a reluctant diaper changer after bearing my own brood, will move on then to describe her childhood, where surely no good woman can come of age without first fighting her way through the gauntlet of nasty girls expressing an explosive rage in the form of mockery, hypocrisy, autocracy. I suffered those same slings and arrows not lightly, as few are able. Grade school Barbie, no doubt, weathered the storm, the jeers of peers, the taunts of toddler toys similarly situated on shelves piled with Legos and Lincoln Logs, glitter glue and construction paper, and dolls, other dolls. Child Barbie learned to read early and fast. She read her way right off the nursery shelving. She skipped grades in schools, needing to learn the basics quickly, given her future, and the education that would be needed to master 200 plus careers, including 12 types of chef, 5 types of dancers, countless jobs in the media, and 3 types of photographers, baby, fashion, and pet, as says Wikipedia. The AI shuts me down when I ask for details on Barbie's career as a call girl. I prepared as a child for a single career. I didn't learn to read fast enough to master more. Early childhood for Barbie was a time to excel. Grammar school girls speak out and are brave. Middle school mutes these voices, as it did mine. Chapter 4, Adolescence. Barbie, one to fit a mold, comes into her adolescent self as Skipper. I shall not say as Barbie's little sister, as Mattel may tell us, but herself in a short second of innocence. Skipper, raging, red hair, flat feet, flat chested, knowing nothing of her own future, though so close she can almost see it. Red and white striped sailor midi swimsuit with matching striped shorts. Androgynous, innocent, on the brink of her breakout, bosom soon to blossom in a black and white striped suit bottom rising high above her thigh. She to be Skipper no more, no longer the girl in the midi suit, no longer the girl who plays, no longer the skipper who skips rope and tosses jacks in a ball. Now she's skipping classes and getting bawled out by an angry father or bawled by some guy named Jack. All of this before she met Ken, clean-cut Ken, and cleaned up her act. Mattel has no record of this, burnt that troublesome history over the fire pit with scented grill, stirred by its own barbecue Barbie. Not good press, that mess. I stayed Skipper a good time longer, not skipping grades, but a good girl, slow walking and painfully so through puberty. Chapter 5, Adulthood. As some would have it, Barbie's birth, for what it's worth, planted her directly in pink housing, pink car, pink scrubs, pink camos, pink astronaut suit. A woman hoisted on tippy toes as though reaching, always reaching for the next big career, as does a borderline boomer Gen Xer. Girl, you go get yourself a hobby, turn everything into a career. Never just a casual cook, only a chef, never a campaign supporter who knocks on doors, only a candidate, the one who could declare war. You super achiever, you no time to stop and have a family. You had a surrogate for that, friend Midge. She bore the burden of taking that path, so you could be the one who had it all the careers ever imagined, and each one in pink. For all the wedding dresses you wore, it appears there were dozens. It's not clear if you and Ken ever did get married. So I'll assume there was no divorce. No marriage, no children, no hobbies. A woman only driven by her careers. Were employers ever suspect that you never stuck with any one job for more than a year or a month? Or for however long it took to change from one outfit to another? Did co-workers at the water cooler ever wonder why you didn't mention the kids? I, for one, had one marriage, one divorce, one career, and 4 children. Do the math. An uneventful life. Chapter 6, Old Age. Barbie lands feet flat in old age. The place I and many inhabit with all of our fallen arches, bunions, corns, calluses, hammer toes, thickened toenails, and plantar fasciitis. Barbie appears with fashionably designed orthopedic shoes, heels or not, depending on where we are in the film. By this point, she and I will all have had or be needing hip replacements or some work done on the knees from all those hard-hitting days living the life of workout Barbie and swimming to the stage to dance the night away as Dua Lip, aka Mermaid Barbie. For the rest of us, fallen recruits from the ranks of Jane Fonda, Richard Simmons, and Zac Efron workout videos, we find ourselves on the operating table and then rehab, gingerly pushing our walkers ahead of us through the PT, physical torture that promises to bring us back to fully functioning flesh and blood. Barbie, alternatively, has her entire leg removed, whether she be checked in for knee or hip. Those infamous rounding out the hourglass hips. The knee is hopeless, impossible to remove, as unbendable as that star-shaped foot, tread, riser, tread. That was the first thing to go flat the moment she left that imaginary two-dimensional world that exists in the movie screen minds of little girls and others who play with dolls. Fix the hip, fix the knee, either way, remove the entire leg and snap on the replacement. No rehab, no walker, unless Mattel sees an opportunity to sell us the geriatric Barbie. Barbie, she and I have aged these 65 years. her breasts still periscope up from the narrow confines of her abdomen. Seeking, another Ken, another career. Mine dropped with gravity, not having sought surgery to strengthen the trajectory. Seeking nothing now but solitude. Elected surgery and the other kind that land us too many times on the operating table in this old age we now live. Chapter 7, epilogue. Yes, Tony, I'm almost done. Some little girls still cut the locks off their doll's head, color their plastic corpus with markers, insist on making their dolls live a life contrary to what was manufactured. At our age in human years, our hair falls from our heads of its own accord or falls from the damage of the chemicals that eat at the follicles. Our bodies are marked by spots and blemishes and skin that folds like beach sand pushed at the shores. As much as we try to shape our lives, make our lives, play with the raw goods the manufacturer has given us, things fall apart. Repair is painful and replacements cannot be simply snapped into place. From our personal supply of fresh and healthy clones. Is Barbie immortal? Asked ChatGPT. No, Barbie is not immortal. However, like any fictional character, Barbie's existence is limited to the world of imagination and media. Chat answers. I disagree. To deny Barbie her immortality would be to deny the never-endingness of imagination and the media. Imagination will live on despite the best efforts of the media, and Barbie will live on too, so long as there are children who like to play at being adults, as we always have. Thank you.
Beth Evans. Angela was looking at me throughout most of that. My daughters dragged me to see the Barbie movie a couple of weeks ago. It's interesting sitting in a crowd when you feel like you're it's 95% women, three guys in the whole place. And, stuff that I was chuckling at, they were roaring at. I also felt a bunch of times when it felt like all of the eyes of the movie theater were on the three guys that were in it. And it wasn't in a good way. All right, next week we have a great lineup. We have Sarah Cahill-Marin will be back, Gail Teller, Jonathan Harrington, and Jennifer Gabaldi. So we have a nice mixture of people who've been here before and some newbies. I'm going to bring up now, we have with us here tonight, by the way, our current Nassau County Poet Laureate, right, this sort over there, Paula Kersey. And we have been graced a number of times over the years with a number of Poets Laureate, including the current U.S. Poet Laureate, who read for us in our very first year. We are delighted to bring up the Queen's Poet Laureate, a good friend of the Gazebo and all of us in the area, Maria Lisella.
Thank you.
Right height here.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm vertically challenged.
Go get them.
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I don't have the right glasses on, so I can't really see you, but I know you're there. And thank you, Tony. And the Thursday morning poets, I have to say, were a complete and utter blessing. It was a total serendipitous experience. I had just lost my husband. I had started the workshops. I was saying yes to everything. And the Thursday morning poets really have been a blessing in my life, too. Okay. So I'm gonna start with a piece about my mother. My mother was 103 and she died in December. But being of Italian persuasion, they never really leave. So, and I wrote this piece because it was inspired by a piece by Yehoshua November, who's a poet also. Cleaning out Mom's house. Her Shalimar scent lingers in the garden view room where she spent her last decade, retelling her long, unhurried life stories to gentle strangers about tailoring, cooking, sewing, caring. Building blocks of boxes brim with buttons. Mother of pearl, flat plastic, shank, cloth, and glass. I enter a meticulously ordered world of whimsical threads for straight running back slip, catch, and whip stitches. The wild red rose bush in winter scratches at her window. Okay, so order is here. Okay, so the next piece I'm going to read is from an anthology I'm very proud to be in. It's called Stronger Than Fear, Poems of Empowerment, Compassion, and Social Justice. And one of the reasons I'm going to read it is because Ada Limon is also in this book. So I was really thrilled to be in it. Okay, so this piece is also inspired a little bit by my mother. A Stitch In. It required a stitch or two, and so I tacked it the way my mother taught me. A seamstress in a different age. She'd tailor and sew and design in a union shop, a safe place. The shirt was sewn at a different time, halfway around the world. The two tabs stuck out of my friend's cheap striped shirt. Made in Bangladesh, read the label, where women who know nothing about raised fists of Labor United or the IWW or the AFL-CIO sweat for 14 hours a day and 35 cents an hour, turning out shirts just like this one. The labels read H&M, Calvin Klein, Ann Taylor, Zara, Target. Yet when factories go up in flames or crumble into tangles of steel, concrete blocks, mortar, with detritus fizzling with the stench of human flesh and bone for weeks, maybe months in New Delhi, Bangladesh, Ahmedabad. Label owners deny those very same women had anything to do with earning them the $2.4 trillion in profits they report each year on garments with tabs untacked, seams unraveling. I don't want you guys sitting in the dark, so I'm going to skip my longer poem. And, okay. So this one is for Melva. Yes. Un beso en Cuba. A kiss in Cuba. Back with your right, forward with your left, cross-body turn, press her. Let her know it's coming. Ahora, enchufa. Johnny Pacheco swings a ritmo cubano, smutty studio windows, the wooden floor, pale and polished under dancing feet, stepping, pounding, turning. A door slips open. A Cuban couple's feet are loving the moment. Let her foot get in the middle. Your feet stay on the outside. Ahora, una vuelta. I look down at the pattern. Un beso with his pelvis. His feet frame mine. Can less than one get this sexy, this fast in sultry Havana? Yeah, I have another sexy poem for you because, you know, it's getting late, so I have to make sure that you're going to stay with me. You know, this piece actually was inspired by, okay, there goes my order, but okay. This piece was inspired by an article about oysters in Long Island. Ladies who lunch at Le Bernardin prefer oysters no larger than 2 inches. Briny, muscular, manageable. The most popular are widow's holes, like a punchline to a dirty joke about the world's favorite aphrodisiac. Instead, it is named for a widow married to a lost-at-sea whaler who lived on the Peconic, where oysters are born, bred, cultivated to ladylike taste. If left alone, can live for 15 years, grow to foot-long sea creatures, almost inert, inanimate as a plant, Oysters live sealed inside shells, filled with their own juice.
Oh,
Take
that
one
big.
firm bite, or the creature will live on in your stomach, say the French. Puff your cheek with its liquor.
So glad.
Taste the salty air.
So
A
glad.
sweet creature.
Yes.
Slurp, never chew. Tease it. Work it with your tongue. Never sink your teeth in. It's no. Yet others say, if you swallow, all oysters are the same. Okay, now I have to retrieve this poem. Okay. This is actually for you guys because I spent many summers on Long Island and I loved every minute of it. And this ran recently in Your Daily Poem, which is an online sort of journal. Summer place. Baskets brimmed with peaches, the color of sunset inside, others white with red veined pulp. The short rides to Long Island farms were like this, colorful, abundant. Food plucked or picked at sunrise arrives in time for pre-dinner snacks as we children trudge up 400 steps from a long day at the beach, there from shady morning to shady twilight, leaving mothers free of screaming kids. With salty skin and seaweed stuck to our bottoms, excuse me, we tromp in with sandy feet on the cracked linoleum of the bungalow. The summer house, 2 steps above a tent. Our lives made simple, privacy relinquished as we escaped from our city apartment. The summer place for first kisses and dates, softball heroics, first cigarettes smoked on moonless nights at the top of the cliff, so high above the beach, yet the waves, even at low tide, could be heard. Rocks being washed back and forth, smoothing their ridges as we looked forward to another day at the beach, burning our skin, polishing our strokes. We'd ferret out secret corners older kids abandoned. Preteens would drift from one hiding place to another, creating routes to the grown-up world. And this is a new piece, and some of those other pieces are in my book, which is for sale. This piece came out of a prompt about favorite TV show when you were a kid. So this is called The Naming. I loved TV families because everyone was so clean and the house was so organized and the pets so very well behaved and groomed. Father Knows Best was a challenge because in our house, a lot of people thought they knew best. For sure, my mother was in my father's corner much of the time, but she straddled the seesaw of power since her mother held sway much of the time. And my educated father had 2 illiterate in-laws to contend with. Following tradition, he respected, if not agreed, with them, and this he did with his head bent low, so it was hard not to take sides in all sorts of issues, like where the roses should be planted, babies should grow, or how to wrap the fig tree. The disclosed subtext was my father was the breadwinner, so my mother tried hard to protect his right to vote, without stirring trouble with her own mother. This kind of thing never happened on Father Knows Best, where Robert Young arrived with his insurance salesman smile each evening at 5, and Jane Wyman, starched and pressed apron, made housework look like a white job. And really, everything was okay. Dinner was always on time. There was dessert even on weeknights, and no one yelled in 3 languages because they were American. Dinners at our house were pure opera, although no one actually died, unless you count the snake I killed in the garden, which was my brother's pet. I confessed I knew it was unkind. After all of that, Snake never did anything to me. TV families had bottle dogs. They didn't have snakes for pets, never cats, and no one slouched or complained that the pasta was overcooked or the veal was too dry. At their dining room tables, controversy was about how to make the applesauce of chocolate chip cookies, or how Donnie, the paper boy, kept tossing the paper into the bushes. In our house, the discussions ranged from the dog who slept in his own shingled house outside, the Irish nuns, the priests who did not want to serve communion to my grandmother at home. We also had very different names. There were no buds or kittens. We had serious names for seriously dead people, and no amount of popcorn would get the adults to agree on naming the next two children, especially because my father gave a lot of ground slowly to his in-laws. But when it came to the next two, instead of being named for them, they were named after him and my mother, as if he claimed the next two as the real Americans named after live people. Thank you.
Maria Lisella. Let's hear it for all of our readers. The Thursday Morning Poets brought it tonight, huh? All right, I'm going to pick out our 50, 25, 25 winner tonight. By the way, I did mention it before. I want to again, if you're not on our email list and you want to for poetry reasons or for any reasons at all, just see the ladies at the back. October 14th, the Nassau County Poet Laureate is hosting a festival, if you will, of the spoken word, of poetry and of literature and of music, and it will be taking over this entire green. It's going to be an all-day event, and it's going to be spectacular. So we urge you to mark your calendar for October 14th. That's Saturday. All right, so tonight's winner of $40 is Sandy Scholl. Okay, now I'm going to pick 4 more names. For those of you who aren't here every week, I say the same joke every week. You win nothing tonight, but you do get into the grand prize drawing at the end of the month. And so that's Vance, Barbara, Beth Evans. So Beth, you're not winning anything tonight, but you could win a big pot. Doreen Spungen. And fifth is Herb Kowski. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you to all my Kiwanian friends in the back there. Thank you to the ladies at the table. And thank you all for coming out and spending a beautiful night with us on Schoolhouse Green.